So today we get a torn piece of gacha, silver Compatu, high potion, energy, OC. Okay, cool. 18 OC today. Fantastic. Hey, Brocky, how you doing? Kotonoha. Horse. Oh, that's annoying. A horse can show up every day. Are tickets good again? Huh? How y'all doing? I remember when tickets were good. It's one item. There was insufficient space. We'll put it in anyway. That's like my bank account. Holy Christ. Channel 3. Yeah, gamer, I'm gonna use a drop boost. Hey, Revert, how you doing? Hey, Lunar. Hey, everybody. You did? I'm proud of you. I did a whole day of working. You do? Well, that's fantastic. Because that's the age in which you can start really applying those tempests. And Lancelot weapons, 128. Oh god. Nice. Oh, flower. Yeah. That's a lot, blah. Thunderclap and Gale get an attack was 128? I thought it was 130. I'm gonna call you on that. I'm gonna call you on that, River. I'm gonna call you. I think it's 130. Normally I wouldn't do this, but I think it's 130. It's 125 and 130. 15% attack. If HP is 100%, you get 50% attack. Level 125 or more, 2,000 attack. If 130 or more, 3,000 attack. 130 for element, 130 for skill force. No mention of 128. It's so petty, but at the same time, I'm like, no, that is not a 128 thing. It's a 125 thing and a 130 thing. Yeah, for sure. We need to get Oni medals in a login calendar. That'd be fun. That's awesome, Lunar. Is double tidal wave fun? It's something I've never done, but I imagine it feels sick. Like bouncing, water bounce, boom, 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 boom. I imagine. Okay. So, I think I crashed looking at my exchange shop yesterday. Like, I crashed doing something, and then I loaded the game back up, and I crashed again. After the stream. Unless I used all my stuff, I don't know. No, I didn't use anything. Yeah, it's super awesome. Like, what you do is you kite everything together, and then you do that. I actually have no space. I've had no space for, like, since this event started, and it's really hindered my progress. Because I can't buy anything. Oh my god, what am I full of? Don't answer that. Anyway. Yokai chocolate. Recent. 500 Dura ticket. Do I have one on me? No. Stop going there. SP. Point medals. Really? What the frig? Can this go in? Yeah, I can merge. Okay. What about this? No. 60 fucking transcendence. Ah! Yeah, reuse for sure. Maybe I'm merging in the wrong direction. Yeah, I am. Rhyme recipe? I don't need this shit. They're on me, my dude. Never leave home without them. Why is that such a meme lately? Like every day it's just been, where is your fucking extraction tickets? Like where the fuck did I get that from? I made it a meme? You're damn right. I made a video about that a long time ago with the laughing. It was like looking at PC's OC campaign. Oh my god. No star. The Kotonoha mags are only part of the summer event of Kotonoha. This is like a redux for Kotonoha. So we had Kotonoha originally. We're at a redux, and the next time Kotonoha appears as a summer festival, the mag will be in that point, and there's also going to be weapons and stuff. This is a redux to allow everyone to get Icicle Punishment 5, 6, 7, Salome 5, 6, 7, and a bunch of other awesome exchange shop things. So the mag isn't in this event, it's still in the future. The mag is fantastic. The mag is S tier. Yes, Meditation 6 is in there, yeah. It is 40 fire, 40 wind, and 40 ice. No negative. And it gives you defense percentage, which is fucking godly. So if you wear 3 of them, you gain 75% defense and magic defense, which is something we don't have, which is orgasmic. There's no might about it. Like, when that comes, like, that, it's better than anything. When are we getting Kotonoha Part 2? It could be next month. It could be in July for summer. I honestly don't know. Yeah. It's gonna let people use fire and wind and ice at the same time. Like, it's gonna be wild. Like, for me, ice is one of my negatives. Although I do have the ice mags from the wolf, it doesn't present that fire negative. So it's really cool. Really cool the dynamic it's gonna give. Yeah, I think so. I never 100% tested it, but I dumped everything into Wisdom and she's able to do everything, so it's really weird. But yeah, for Aoi, you want to put Wisdom in instead of Mind. Yeah, exactly. 91 goddamn marrows. Fuck. What's on this shit? Oh, nucleus. 31. I got 31 nucleus that's from the event. Wild. Inventory full. I am sad now. There's my 344 extraction tickets. Yeah, but I'm just trying to make room in here and things aren't working. I can show you that in a second. I haven't used a boost yet, so I don't mind going into that. I'm just trying to fix my inventory. My storage is full. Like, is there anything in storage? Kotonoha gotcha ticket. Can I use that? That's from, like, last year. Can I use that? Oh, good God. I have a platinum premium boost? Holy shit. I have 6 hidden helmets? Wow. That should be turned into point metal thingies. Weapon Hunt Ewan, what the fuck is that? Oh, that sucks, Beautiful. Holy shit. Holy shit. It's definitely a must-have thing in this game. In the future. Is there anything I can just get rid of? 79 empty graves? I'll get rid of that. Fuck yeah. I mean, if it works, it'd be funny though. They usually take all that shit. Is there something in here that's just useless, or is everything a boss drop? Ah. Oh fuck yeah. You got to. A joyful stay. I think it's from an exchange, yeah. I think it's, you get the recipe from an exchange shop. Then you just gotta collect the rewards, the drops, and the drops aren't event locked, like it's just regular drops you can farm the rest of the year. So that's what makes it really, really, really good, because it's just an insert into normal life. It's not like restricting. Yeah, exactly. Shigaraki, it's that fucking guy. Shigaraki. Okay, I don't know what I can take out of here, but taking out one thing is going to let me put away these purgatory drops. There. Okay. So very briefly, since Aoi is a topic right now, assist partners and whatnot, I have a 133 Aoi and a 145 Satan. So Satan is going to be a generic support partner build in a sense. Like this is what you would do on basically anything that's not Aoi, because Aoi's a bit different. We'll get to that in a minute. So Satan, how you build them is your first stat you pump into them at all when you're early leveling them is you just dump Vit until it's 100, because you need your support partner to live. If your support partner dies in one hit, they're useless. So you need to pump up their vitality to give them HP. After that, you want to hit 91 mind. And the reason you want 91 mind is because a lot of the support skills require you to have over 90 mind, so 91 is min-maxed over 90 mind. So you want 91 mind, and then the rest I just dump into power for extra attack power and extra HP, which is very, very, very important. Because she only has 58,000 HP, and it goes away just like that. It's kind of crazy. They don't have a magical defense stat, and I don't know why. And I think Dex shouldn't be touched, and I don't think Wisdom should be touched unless you need to. But that's stat-wise, basically. So you go Vit, 91 mind, and then power. Supports can do like 100k. I don't know. I haven't seen a support do 1,000,000, although I don't use them in Kikagahara. So I don't use any of this shit. I think that's really stupid. I always go to order designation. Yeah. So my Satan, I have attacks on her because I like that. And some attacks can give your support partner invincibility, and those attacks have high priority. I don't know which those attacks are by name, but like if you ever notice that when a support character uses a certain attack that they avoided something that should have hit them, that should clue you into that move has invincibility frames. That's really good, because if RNG favors you, then there's a chance that your support partner will become invincible and dodge an attack that would normally harm them or kill them. I noticed that Satan can do that. She has one move where she jumps up in the air and she throws like thunder down on the ground, and it's really good. I think it might be Execution Kiss. Execution Kiss is like Thunder Beast or something. There's a lot of them where she just does things. It could be Brilliant Falls. There's a lot of them. I haven't used a lot of them. Like I try to mix it up a bit. but some of them are really big. Like, one of them is a big giant beam of light, and everyone complains about it because they can't see shit. So I don't use that one anymore. But Satan does have some moves that give her invincibility frames. So that's always cool. Like, Rapid Lightning is actually, just talking about Satan just for this one specific case, Rapid Lightning is amazing. Okay, Rapid Lightning in like low tier dungeons is good because this is like 3 lightning bolts that travel across the screen. I know you asked about Aoi, but the other woman asked about partners. If you're gonna be like that, don't be like that. Because she asked about Aoi, and she asked about support partners in general. And it's a lot easier to talk about support partners in general because the general audience is not going to have Aoi. You have Aoi. The general audience is going to have any support partner that could be Satan, any of the gargoyles, Parvis, Kiritan, and then Aoi. We can get to Aoi after we talk about the general because Aoi's a whole different build. So that's the order I'm going about it in. Kind of bugging me, but I'll continue. Rapid Lightning's awesome because this move is like a flash retribution. It goes through every enemy and it just hits everything in a straight line, and it's really cool. And I'm just trying to explain the builds and skills I use. In general, you're going to want to have an attack skill as your like number one thing. Like, and by this I mean an attack buff. Satan, for example, has Shocking Cleave attack 5, and most support partners have an attack buff 1 through 5, and it's just usually highlighted as attack. I do not own a Kenshin, so sadly, I personally don't own a Kenshin, but I have done a guide on Kenshin. And it involves Kenshin and Kenshin's outfit. Because Eva had one and we did a guide like that. So generally your support partners are going to have 5 different levels of attack. So like attack 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So like 1's pretty lame, 2 is like basically 1's 15% attack and then it lasts like 30 seconds. 2 is going to be like a little more, it lasts a bit longer. And then 3 is going to be a lot, but it lasts a minute. And then 4 is like pretty average. It goes back to the 2 level, but it only lasts 30 seconds. And the cooldown time varies. Like, it's really weird with the cooldown time. And then 5, which is a really, really big one, is usually your biggest attack buff, but it has the longest cooldown and an average duration. So sometimes it's good to have like a 5 and a 3 so that the character, the support partner, can use a buff and then go back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, and just constantly buff you. So sometimes it's good to run 2 attack buffs. Apart from that, support partners usually also come with an elemental buff, Satan having Shocking Cleave Thunder, which will boost your thunder element by 60 for a certain period amount of time. So it gives you 60 element for 30 seconds, and if you set it up so that they use it whenever the player is 100% or less, which means all the time, then they'll always cast that on you when it's available. As long as you have it set to target on player. You could have them target themselves to boost their own attack and element, but that's not the main point of the assist partner. They're not going to kill the dungeon for you. You are. Yeah. Apart from that, they do have healing skills and invigoration skills, which are good to have. Generally, you only really want to use their healing skills on themselves. Yeah, the gargoyle partner is really strong. Like, the gargoyles have a lot of HP. Like, they actually tank a lot of hits. Like, it's actually unreal how much HP they get. Kiritan gets like 100,000 HP. It's kind of ridiculous. But like, Satan has like the lowest HP, and then everyone else has other higher HPs. So There are other random things like stamina, which will reduce your stamina consumption, which means you could block longer than you normally could, or you could roll more than you normally could, which I think is very niche, and I don't really care for it. Then some of them have critical of things, like Satan has one that affects your critical damage, so crit force, and I don't think it's that good because you lose crit, you gain crit force, and most of the time I run around with like max crit force anyway. So I don't really use that. And then there's something here for cooldown cut, but again, I usually have 80 cooldown, so I don't use it. But yeah, there's also healing skills you can put on a support character. Yeah, like there's an invig, and you got to look at how much invig your support character has. Like, it's usually going to be titled Magic 1, Magic 2. That's how you know it's an invigoration. And if the character's invigoration is like less than 40, do not use it on your character. Make it so that the support partner uses magic on self, which means themselves, because anything under 40 is useless on the player. Because unless you're in Vanguard, which would be the only time you'd want this, your meditation is always, for the most part, your meditation is going to be 40 plus, especially with Meditation 6 around now and commonly available to everyone. I don't recommend having a support partner with a low invigoration invigging yourself, because once you have an invig on you, you cannot replace it with a new invigoration until the current invigoration passes away, and that's valuable Vanguard time, that's valuable time in a dungeon, on a boost, whatever. You don't want to do that. But where it really shines is you can have your support partner invig themselves, and it just lets them, you know, constantly generate SP and just not run out of SP and constantly do things. Like, it's actually really good like that. And then they also have a heal, which is like, they have two different kinds of heals. There's like heal 1, which heals either you or her with a certain amount of HP. It doesn't really say. And then there's like multiple levels of that. And then 3 is the highest, and it's honestly not that much. Then there's heal plus, which is regeneration of 1,000. And then there's heal plus, which is a straight value of 10,000 HP. And that's better to have on the Vanguard themselves so that they can heal themselves and they don't die. Like, an argument I'll say many, many times is you don't want your support partner healing you when they could heal themselves, because you can eat a Shenlong. You can use, you know, many, many options to heal yourself. Because Shenlong is always square button. It's always readily available so long as you have breathing room. But the support partner cannot be healed by extend heal, meditation, not meditation, mega potion, high potion, resurrection potion. None of that affects the Vanguard, or the support partner, I guess. So, it's better to have them use their healing skill on themselves, because you want your support partner not to die. Which goes back to the thing I was saying earlier, that if they do have, like, some moves that give them invincibility frames, it's better to use those, because then it's just more frames where they just don't die, regardless of how much or little damage they do. Them not dying is the difference between having your current attack and 100,000 attack, which is what Satan would do to me if I'm using an other side staff and I'm at, or other side spear and I'm at max health and I'm wearing Tempest and all this max build shit. And Toshi's, my attack reaches 100,003 or whatever, and it's really crazy. It makes Whirlwind Thrust do damage, Capitic. Like, support partners are really, really good. So generally, in some, you want an attack skill, you want an element skill, because then they can buff your elements and whatnot. Then you want them to be able to invigorate themselves, invigorate you if their invig is good, and heal themselves so they don't die. And if you do have a lot of scrolls, or you do have a lot of slots available from doing their conditions and whatnot, then you can throw on attacks in other slots just so that they can do things when these other moves are on cooldown. Like, there's a lot of moves that have like 8-second cooldown, 8-second cooldown, 25-second cooldown. Like, the attack buff takes like a minute and a half to come back, and the element buff is like little over a minute on average. So you got to play around. Like, it's very flexible, and you got to prioritize this stuff. Like I said earlier, like if you want something always active on you, you want to, you know, you want it to be a trigger level of 100 or less, 100 or less. Like, it could be 0 or more, but I find 100 or less is a guaranteed activation trigger. Things like attacks, you want them to use those when your own HP isn't low. Like, if you set your settings so that your partner does things that are not, like, it's not a vital time for them to do something, and, like, if my health is over 80%, I don't need my support partner to really do anything, because I'm probably doing really good. So that's an indication that, you know, they could do an attack. And then this one, if you want them to just always do an attack, like Annihilation or something, you can do the exact same settings as the others. And then they'll prioritize doing a buff over an attack, depending on where you put it. So it's always good to put attack first, then element buff, because the first slot is going to be the first thing that happens, second thing that happens, and then everything else kind of just subsequently falls into its cooldown and usage. And then when the other skills come back to their cooldowns are expired or ready, then it's going to jump back and use those buffing skills. So you wouldn't want to have your buffs at 6, 7, 8, 5 low priority, because they wouldn't be able to do anything. They wouldn't be doing what you want them to do. Something like healing, I figure that when my support partner's health is 80% or less, I want them to heal, because that means they're taking damage, and I want them to heal before it's too late. You wouldn't want to set your partner's healing really low, like at a under 50% threshold, because by the time they're under half, that means like it's almost too late. You never want to be in that too late situation, because their health is out of your control 100% of the time. As for when you want to have them invig themselves, I think the same thing. If their SP is under 80%, they should invig themselves, which is generally where it's going to lie after they use their buffs. It's going to be under 80%, they give themselves an invig, they keep pumping up their SP, and they're ready to go through the battle. So that's generally like why I have these conditions where they are. I know I've shown this screen many times in passing in old videos and stuff, and I don't really go over it that much, but there is a rhyme to the reason here. So I'm going to hit proceed on that, whatever. Close that. So, on to Aoi. Aoi, who is a support partner that is available right now to the vast majority of players, like she's in the Neon Koropan. There are SP tickets that have a good rate of getting her if you're lucky. Yeah, Aoi's here. One thing to note about how to build Aoi before I go into her skills, because it was not on parameters. My Aoi is level 133, and she has 100 vitality, 100 wisdom, 53 mind, and 60 power. Now, is this optimal build? No. I haven't reset her stats yet because I haven't got her to 150 yet. I'm going to wait till then to see where I can put my points and stuff. But generally, like it is with every other support partner, you want them to have like 91 mind. Well, I was testing the water to see if mind mattered or not, and it doesn't. Mind does not matter to Aoi. All of her buffs and conditions all rely on wisdom. And so you want to have a lot of wisdom for Aoi. So in the same regard as the other characters, you want to start with vitality, you max that to 100, then you want to do your wisdom and max that. There's no reason not to. It depends on how many scrolls you have, of course. If you have like one scroll, you probably don't want to go to 100 wisdom. You probably just want to hit that 91 threshold and then start pumping power so that they can get a high HP pool so they don't die. Yeah, they're all staffs because support partners can only wield certain weapons to power up their attacks and stuff. Like Satan, for example, she can wield twin swords and odachis and axes, and that's what I've given her. Like, she has my other side twin swords, she has my silhouette slicer, my blue moon blade aura F, my Garma Kill Macross, my Schleipnir axe of earth, D3 cross, and a crystal a Glacius weapon. If you don't really care about what weapons you give them, you could just like give them a bunch of Glacius weapons and they'll be fine. If you want to smelt one up to 100, that's perfect, because the attack only really mainly scales off the weapon you put in the center. So generally, a weapon you don't use anymore, or something you want to personally craft for your partner, that they can wield, whatever the best thing is you could make. Maybe it's just a Glacius or an Odin weapon, or something that's pretty easily available. You don't want to go out of your way and create some crazy weapon or whatever. You put it in your main slot, and then you get a massive attack buff out of it, and then every other slot just gives you smaller buffs. It matters, though. So if you put 7 nadir, like, it's actually 9, but yeah, if you put like 7 nadirs at plus 100, like, it would be good, but it would not be worth the effort. Like, a nadir isn't even that much more than a completion. You'd be better off using completions, but I know what you mean. Where do you get the other side twin? You get it from a Yogg Sothoth event, from the exchange, either from the random identification or from a or one you choose. I got it during Yogg Redux, and I built it up, played with it a bit, and then I just gave it to her. That's what I did. Do we think we'll get another Yogg? Maybe. There is a storyline with the Yoggs, so probably. Like, we've had like the original Yogg, and then we had green Yogg and yellow Yogg, and there'll probably be some other Maida, and then we'll get a Yogg. Did the other Maida, whatever her name is, the one who turns into the robot, did she come with Yogg? Like, it's generally a New Year's thing for whatever reason. I'm not too sure on that. Okay, so back to Aoi real quick here. Yeah, so she takes wands and staffs. So I have a plus 100 rhyme that I made a long time ago to use for rain and ice and stuff. And I gave that to her because it's my strongest thing, and that's her biggest attack multiplier of like 9,000. But that's a rhyme. Like, a rhyme is going to give her 9,000. And where does that number even come from? I don't know. Did I get a premium ticket too? KG came with the Ice Golem? Interesting. Cool. Cool. So that's not a Yogg, but it's a similar kind of thing. Okay. You got a premium ticket? I don't have a premium ticket. You might be a day and log in ahead of me. I'm not sure, but I don't have one. But yeah, like, a rhyme gives her 9,000 like attack, and for Satan, the other side, which is a much stronger weapon, gives her 15,000 plus all the other things I give her. But so back to Aoi, like, she needs wisdom to activate her skills. Like, we'll see that in the skill thingy right now. Hey Flame, we're just talking about assist partners, because Aoi's like around and people are gonna get her and they're gonna want to know, how do I build this thing? Okay, so just to confirm here, like, Aoi has all the heals that the others do. Like, it doesn't have asterisks and stuff, but for the most part it's the same setup as everyone else. Like, they have a heal 1, heal 2, heal 3, then they have heal 2, which is a set number, 1,500, and then heal 3, which is set 50,000. I don't want my Aoi to fight at all? I do. Generally, yeah, you want Aoi spamming punishment. Generally, that's what you want Aoi to do. You want her to spam Icicle Punishment because she's invincible during it. It doesn't matter what damage it does or what little effect. Like, it can kill mobs when you're doing stuff, which is good. But for the most part, you just want Aoi being invincible so she doesn't die. That's generally what you want to set up. Like, if you look at my setup, yeah, it's Icicle Punishment and a bunch of buffs. That's all you really need to do. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if we, like, she has Magic 1, Magic 2, and she has an, she has a really good invig of 40 SP per second. So that, for me, when I use Aoi, like, I use Satan and Aoi for different things. Like, that's what's going to happen when you have different support partners. Like, all the gargoyles are going to give you 40 invig, which is good. Aoi gives you 40 invig, Kiratin can give you like 40 invig, and so on and so forth. Like, those you can choose to have them invig you or themselves, or maybe a mixture of both. Like, I bring Aoi when I'm doing purgatory modes or Oni modes that allow me to bring a support partner, because your SP doesn't naturally regenerate. So in situations like that, having Aoi or your support partner actually give you SP in those situations is phenomenal. It is worth doing. So for me, I have Aoi equipped with 2 invigs. I have an invig she casts on herself and an invig she casts on me. So the one she casts on me, or the one she casts on herself, triggers at 50%. I know 50% is not the best thing, I said that earlier, but I needed to differentiate the levels so that she's not just spamming the same thing. Because if it were up to me, I would just have it at 70, everything at 70, because anything less than 70 is scary. But because I'm using the same skill twice, I have one set at 50, one set at 70. Do spear moves take a lot of SP? Yes, they do. Spear moves take a hell of a lot of SP. I'll show you in a second there. So yeah, I have an invig for her and for me. And then there's magic. Yeah, that's the invig. Her attack buff caps at 45. And there it says, required stats over 90 wisdom. Everyone else is going to say mind. Aoi says wisdom, and it's not a typo. It's actually not a typo. It matters. You need to have wisdom over mind. Just for Aoi. She's special. And that's the most important buff of all the attack buffs. So if it says 90, you put 91. That's case in point. Why is everyone a sword user? Because you start the game with a sword user. Anime and swords go together. Everybody wants to be that cool Kirito. Everybody wants to be that cool Dragon Quest hero, that cool RPG protagonist that uses a sword. You start with the Oni Dagger. The Oni Dagger has Ogi Spirit Blast, and it's like your only Ogi you have, and it's like OP as all hell for like the first 2 hours of gameplay. And people just stick with it. They start using it, and they like it. And it's a sword. It's a staple of fantasy. Kirito, sure, but you don't get like what's it called? Because there's no twin Oni daggers, like, you're still gonna use the sword. But sword's just the most oversaturated thing. Not to mention that sword has the most support in the game, early game. All the mags you get are for sword. All the affinity mags you get are for sword. All the titles in the game are like for sword. Everything is for sword. So like, people are just gonna keep sticking with what's good. And early game, like, they just hand out everything to sword players. Everything's a handout to sword players. You try playing twin early game, you get no mags. You try playing bow early game, you get no mags. You get nothing. So sword is just kind of like, you have like sword privilege, early game sword privilege, and people just stick with it. And the people that want to play what they like, they have to work a little harder. They have to deviate themselves. Spears have to go a certain point and then get literature, and it's like, oh my god, this is great. There's a quest for Ares, there's a quest for Gemini. Like, Spear can get through the game no problem. You get a literature, Gemini, Ares, Sparrow, you're good to go up until 105s. But Sword just gets everything handed out to them. And they have good titles, they get mags from bazaars, bargains. Sword just gets a bunch of handouts. One field boss versus 100 Oni daggers? Be kind of fun. But we'd crash. Yeah. Well, when things get asked of me, I gotta answer it. I apologize. So, and another thing I just thought of about it is, like, in the same sense, if you want to take a reference from Pokemon, like, let's say in Pokemon, the starter Pokemon were not... Okay, I'm trying to pause the video, but it's not letting me. But, like, let's say, for example, the starter Pokemon, like Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard, were not the starters, and they were just a random Pokemon within the assortment of the 150, and other Pokemon were the starters. They wouldn't have the exact same nostalgia value as, like, the first thing you started with. The same thing as Pikachu. If Pikachu wasn't in the anime, and Pikachu didn't become the mascot, he would have been forgotten and ignored. But because of... You start with him, he's an early game thing, he's a rare discovery in the forest, like all this stuff, like those Pokemon stand out. You know what I mean? And later on, Eevee was always there, but Eevee started getting pushed and pushed and pushed in later media and new evolutions, and Eevee just... And now Eevee is like a mascot of the game itself, because they put him there. But... The case in point I'm trying to make is because you start with the Oni Dagger Sword, because it has so much support early game, because it starts like that, it grows on you, you feel nostalgia towards it, and it becomes part of your identity in the game. Like, whatever is really easy and has really high success, and they're meeting together, and the stonks of DPS are going up, people are going to play Sword. It's only after where people try out other things and say, oh wow, this is fun. I like Bow. I like Odachi. I like Twin. I like Axe. You know, this, that. And a lot of it just follows social media and trends as well. At one point in time, Axe was the most played class in the entire game because its attack was incredibly high. This strategy actually got nerfed. The double-edged cut, which could do damage cap early game, was like the most broken thing in the game. Supreme Tentacle used Axe, and he was like the only YouTuber, and like Axe just took off. You know, like at one point in time, a lot of people switched from Sword to Axe, like Lyra did, because Sword wasn't cutting it, and then now Sword and multi-hit was like getting better than single hit with Axe, and so much. Axe isn't really used that much anymore. It's just big attack weapon Vanguard swap. People still do that. A lot of JP players do that. I know that Spear became incredibly popular from the Nojitsune's channel, the Nojitsune sisters, myself, Oni Crew, Brody. A lot of streamers use Spear because it's fun, it's flashy, and it's just honestly really fun. And I know a lot of people, like, I've talked to a lot of people that say, I play Spear because of you. And it's just, like, it's what you see. It's what you like. But that's why there's so many Sword users. I didn't mean to go on this big tangent for 3 minutes, but that's why there's a lot of Sword users, is because you start the game with Sword, it becomes all reliable, it becomes your nostalgia factor, it gets supported with mags and accessories, and oh my god, the fucking accessories for Sword. Spear didn't get a goddamn accessory forever. Exactly, I just love Water Dragon. I was a bow user until I found Water Dragon. Like, yeah, and there's nothing that, and especially now that there's universal mags for everything, like you don't have to like narrowly spec into one weapon. You can have a pocket bow, a sword, you could do whatever you want now because stats don't matter that much. It's the difference of like a couple thousand attack with your affinity. Now there is a big difference, like if you can have 11,000 attack or 3,000 attack, that's a big difference. But for the most part, if you have power and dex and things like that, you can pretty much use any weapon as long as you have the elements to support it. Exactly. It's gonna come down to preference. So I apologize for that. Let's continue. Yeah, Aoi has a big heal of 50,000, and she can only use that on herself, and that's amazing because that's essentially a full heal that she can get. Exactly, exactly. I was saying that a month ago. Like when Purgatory was here, Sleet, I said I have sublimes in my inventory. Like I'm sitting on a lot of power in my pocket, and I should be using it. And I made an Elsin bow for lightning rapid shot sublime to use against Sleet because I needed a range option, and it was very useful. Like there's so many sublimes that can make any weapon good. Like now Spear has like the best sublime. I'm gonna say it right now, Spear has the best sublimes. Like Tidal Wave Sublime, Spirit Blast Sublime had to get nerfed. Water Dragon Sublime does straight caps. Whirlwind Thrust Sublime does amazing damage, like 10 ticks of millions. And like we're gonna get Spinning Fire eventually, and an Ice one I hear. Like Spear gets amazing Sublime support. Axes get so Sublime support. The Sublimes are kind of middling. Bow gets pretty good Sublimes. The Curse Arrow Sublime was amazing forever. Like so many Sublimes get so much support, and weapons just start. Like the more Sublimes and skills we get, the better like unique stuff. The more those classes are going to get representation because they're good. No one's going to use something just because it's ass. Like just because they like no, well that's true too. No one's going to use something because it's shit. Unless they like, oh man, I'm going to go be staff and use triple knowledge, and it's like, yeah, that's cool on Lucifer and stuff, but not everything's weak to dark. And you know, but the more they make things better, the more it's going to get useful. Fujin Circle Dance Sublime is fantastic. That is a fantastic move for utility and damage. That move is wild. So yeah, like Aoi takes she needs wisdom. So if you're gonna build Aoi, you need to put wisdom instead of mind. Like that's all you gotta do. And one special thing about Aoi is that Aoi has a wind element buff and an ice element buff, and they're both 60 element for, was it 30 seconds? Did it say? For 30 seconds. So that's still really good at the start of a dungeon. So like my Aoi has the ice element, the wind element buff, the attack buff, the ability for her to heal herself, the ability for her to invig herself, the ability for her to invig me, and then Icicle Punishment as an attack she can use when everything else is on cooldown, and that gives her invincibility frames. If I had like 4 more scrolls of Aoi, I could unlock this slot and put something like Wintry Rush on or something like that. She also has Energy Cut, which is basically a cooldown cut, and then Rapid Energy is movement speed. This is also bad because you never want Aoi to ever use rapid anything, because 20 movement speed is 1/4 of like movement speed cap. Like Rapid Storm and Moon King are like way more. Like you don't want to use this because if you have rapid energy on you, you can't get a Rapid Storm the same way that if you have Invig on you, you can't get a new Invig. Yes I did. And they do take experience tickets, and it's a lot. They take a fuck ton of experience tickets. I've done a couple hours, and I've got it at like 133. Like an hour of like 2 runs of experience dungeon with like using a bow and stuff is like 1 or 2 levels. Like 100. It takes like 140 ticket 3s to get like a level when you're at like 130 plus. Yeah, like I did it for Satan, but when I go to do it for Aoi, it's like, oh yeah, like it starts to eat your energy really quickly. So hopefully that sheds some light on some assists. They all pretty much play the same except for Aoi. And is that Spyro? Is Brown? This man is my hero. This guy is level 25. Okay, Spyro Rider, and he named his fucking Brownie Boobs. This man is my hero. This guy, Spyro Rider here, he is wild. He named his look at this thing. That's fantastic. Boobs, just straight up. This man made a character, played for like 2 hours, and he's like, I got a horse. I'm gonna name them Boobs. Wow. That's amazing. No, the scrolls don't give much levels either. You'd never want to use a scroll to give them actual experience. It's a huge waste. Sunset Sally? That's not bad. What should you name yours? You can name it anything you want. Hitchcock? Interesting. I mean, you can name it whatever you want. Like, I thought of, like, Epona, and then I named mine Equinox, which is what I named, like, horses and everything. Oh, okay, so 51 minutes. I'll probably have to rename the stream, like, talking about assist partners. If you're wondering why I get quiet, it's because Eva woke up and I'm talking to her. I was asking her if she wanted to come play, and she's like, oh, she's out right now. She went somewhere. I don't think you can fit homie swag that far. You can't fit the whole thing. Mick pop pop. What's a pop pop? Pop pop and a pop pop and a pop pop pop. Okay. Okay, so you're in channel 3? Cool. Scrody? No, that's way too long. Name it something valuable. Like, don't name it like a millennial would name their kid and call their child Ashley, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Like, where I work, I get to see people's names all the time, and these poor children, like, Ashley's supposed to be A-S-H-L-E-Y, and they're like, I want my daughter to have, like, a super cool, unique name, but also, I need it to be fucking common so that she fits in. So, I'm gonna name my daughter Ashley, but it's like Ashley, like how bitches talk, and it's gonna be A-S-H-E-L-E-I-G-H. Yeah. And I'm like, this poor fucking child. I hate that shit, man. Those name tag, like, oh man, it's so gross. But I will let you know that the most common name I've noticed for women who order things online is Crystal. And there was this one woman whose name was Crystal Knight, like with a K, and I thought that name was wild. I thought that name was sick. I'm like, these parents did a good job. Crystal Knight, that's like a cool name, but it's also like potential like for a porn star name. You know what I mean? Like, that's a good name. Crystal Knight is solid. Like, Crystal's just the most common name right now. I see it everywhere. It's ridiculous. Do you guys know any crystals? Like, I just see crystal everywhere as a name. It's kind of crazy. Like, what... Here's a question for you guys. Like, what is a common name you see, like, everyone having? Like when I was a kid, it was that we had a lot of Ashleys, and we had a lot of, Jessicas. We had, like, 4 Jessicas in school. Jessica and Ashley was, like, the most common names. Zach? You see... Oh, yeah, Chris. Yeah, fuck yeah, there's a Chris, like, every 2 fucking steps. There's always a Chris. Justin? Yeah? Joe? Yeah, Joe. Joey. Chase? Chase is common? Chase is very rare to me. Yeah, Chris. Chris is definitely the most, like, common name. Absolutely. Tyler? We only knew, like, 2 Tylers. But I still knew 2 Tylers, so... You know, there's only so many people. Brandon, there are a lot of Brandons. Yeah, you know a lot of people. I'm like reading the comments, like, who's saying this? So let's go into the grotto. Because we gotta start. Cynthia, I wish Cynthia was a common name. Cynthia's a nice name, and that's just like coming from me who play Pokemon and respects the woman. Cynthia's a nice name. I like things like that. Cynthia, Crystal. I like names like that. There's a lot of Jeffreys and Jeffs. Alyssa? We had a couple Allisons. Oh god, all chat. See right there. She icicle punishment. She helped me out. And it's got a 7-second cooldown, so she should be able to hit something like in like 2 seconds. Is she gonna do it? Do it. Attack him. Fuck him up. Yeah. She can't buff me since I'm on a mount, so she's only gonna use attacks. Every other support character is like, you're on a mount, I'm gonna fucking give you buffs. Oh, Ia? Well, Ia is a suffix for like female. Like it's the female suffix, like it's the ending phrase. You're like Ia, like if you have EO, like that's the male. Like you named him Dabkint, goddamn. I mean that's fine. You be dabbing these hooves. You had like 3 diamonds? Diamond, crystal, ruby, sapphire. No, does anybody know any sapphires? Because ruby is a name. That was sexy. We blew everything up. I've never heard diamond as a name before. Madeline Carpal Tunnel. Sounds like more like made in China. No. Alexandrite? Really? Is that a boy or a girl? Because you have Alex is a pretty common name too. Alex is pretty generic, pretty common. There's a lot of Alex. Alexander. Diamond and India. What? What the fuck? Please don't tell me there's an actual apostrophe in their name to say India. I feel bad for that child. That child's gonna get bullied. For the wrong reasons. It should be the parents getting bullied. To be honest, you know, if you have a stupid name, it's not your fault. It's your parents' fault. Hey Remy, how you doing? Juante. Is that Spanish? You have the urge to name your daughter Aristella? That's a cool name. Stella, Eris. Are you sure you want it with an A or an E? E would be after the god of discord. A is just A. Oh god, Aoi is poisoned. Is she gonna heal herself or is she gonna die? She's gonna die. She's gonna fucking die. Oh, the poison wore off. How do I get off? There we go. Storm? Storm's a cool name. Hey, Owie's full health. Ooh. Storm. My cousin gave his son a name after Gears of War. He has, his son is, Phoenix. After Marcus Phoenix. Phoenix is fun. He's fun at parties. He's like 5. That's some good experience. Should have went through that portal. Victor's a good name. You have an Icelandic name? What's your name? Silas? I've seen a couple Silases. Japanese names? Are they from Japan? Gunner? Gunner. I've heard of Gunners, yeah. Gunner? I was about to say, how would you say it? But am I saying it right? Is it Gunner, or is it like Gunnar or Gunnar? Or is it something like, because usually like Icelandic things, they have like a big emphasis on the U's, I notice. Like Icelandic language has a lot of emphasis on U and all that stuff. Cyrus is alright. Kai? Oh man, that's like Beyblade. I didn't ask this earlier, but if anyone wants to come with me, they can. I don't mind that at all. Kai is a boy's name. Beyblade. Man, I was Kai for Halloween one year. I must have been like 10 or 11. I was Kai. And I had the big long neck scarf, and I remember I tripped on it. I went to someone's like deck, and I stepped on it, and I fell off their deck. Your Ryuga in-game? Cool. Your friends Blazion? Your friends... My family's Blazion, my name's Yuki, and my sister's name is Miyoko Yoko. And the Japanese... Really? That's interesting. Slap. I find it so hard to like, yeah, you can come right in, man. We'll wait for you. We're on channel 3 of Onigashima. I find it hard to pick up all the drops in here when you're going. There's just so many drops. That's fine. Doesn't bother me one bit. What matters is that everybody gets these Ogis, not your performance in the dungeon. So don't be afraid. Don't be worried. Like if you're coming with me, don't be worried. Only be worried when you have to stand on your own 2 feet. Even then, don't be worried. Just try your best. Play smart. And work together. I'm actually really happy that I don't have an overly generic name. Like, my name, because my dad wanted me to be like Tommy the Third. And my mom's like, no, you're not doing that. I'm not having you and the child having the same name. Vox is my cousin's son's name. Your name is Sana? That's cool. Vox is a very unique name. My cousin's son has that name. Vela and Vox. Ha! Get played. Get dabbed on, you guy. I used Kotonoha crossbomber by mistake and dodged your invincible attack. You're stunned. Shit. Oh wow, I'm invincible now. If you use cross bomber while you're poisoned, you just like disappear. Whee! Grand Sword? I don't know what that is. Costa Bomba. Wow. I am being consumed by the darkness. Behold. My name is Logan, and I think Logan's a fantastic name. Like, my mom wanted me to have something unique. She wanted me to have something with an L. Like, if I would have been a girl, it would have been Laura. If I'm a boy, Logan. And I think Logan's a fantastic name. Like, it's not just like, hey, Brandon, hey, Jeffrey, hey. You know, it's not generic. It's mildly unique. Like, it's not overly common. I like that. It gives you a better sense of self. There'd be nothing worse than like running into other people with the same name and they're like retarded. Like, oh, it just does the name not good. Does it disservice? Leon's an alright name. Because it's like lion. I work with a Leon. Leon is a good name. Yeah. Hi, Guild Japa Zanaka. You are a good person. What is that? That was the most Mark Zuckerberg thing I've ever read in my entire life. You ran new with me? Wow, Ryuga. That was years ago. You ran new with me. Like, we should have a high school reunion of like running new. Like, man, I ran new with you. You ran new with me? Yeah, that was me in the days. Holy fuck. I knew it. I knew you were. Because you're always Grizav or whatever, Gieves. I knew it was you. No, I'm not gonna get you off the blacklist, but what's going on? Oh, I thought the portal was still there. Watch out! Why do you say it with full caps? Oh my god. You're always saying it in full caps. I am devil. You have warps? Wow, Ryuga, you got warped. Honestly, I find people that have a warped is impressive. I'm really impressed people that have a warped. Like, That's kind of cool. I think you having a warped is fantastic. I always see people with like, what's that thing called? You know, white raids and brilliances. But a raid, a warped, holy shit! Like that takes skill. Why won't he do? Oh my god! Look at that damage. What are those? What is that? What is that? Does it just stay there? Is that Crimson Crosscut Sublime? How long does it stay there for? Is that what it's supposed to do? I'm dying. Oh. Wow. That's lit, man. Just to let you know, like, Blue Fang Blade is like my second favorite twin skill, and that was a giant Blue Fang Blade. That's awesome. That's so cool. That's awesome, man. The twin swords on your back make it look very awesome. Because you, like, insult me. You have, like, berated me in chats. Like, I'll be in a party chat or something. And I remember this. I was farming in a zombie crossing for, like, 105s. And I had you blacklisted. And I was running with someone. He said... And this guy starts, like, talking in the party chat. And because I was in a body party with you. And you started saying, Oro is shit, Oro is noob, Oro is this, all this shit. And the guy's like, he's saying so much shit about you. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I have him blacklisted. What's he saying? And he sent me a picture. And he showed me all the shit. I'm like, that's why he's blacklisted. Fuck that guy. So that's why. Multiple occasions you insult me. Hey E, how you doing? How the fuck am I talking to a lizard? E. Really? I find I have to upload that, man. Like, I have a clip of me doing, like, Mephi really fast. I am a good person. If you have to say that, you're not a good person. If you're good, it goes without saying. Whether someone is good or bad is actually determined by the general populace. Because good and bad are subjective terms. Because, like, and I'm gonna go all hyperbolic on this because there's no reason not to. But, like, Hitler was a good person in the eyes of the Nazi party. But to the rest of the world, and especially the Jews, he was definitely not a good person. It's all on perspective. Good and bad. There's a lot of people that hate me, and I hate a lot of people. I don't hate that many people, but people give me a reason to. But to others, you're good. To others, you're bad. And that's life. What matters is what you do. You do good, people perceive you as good. You do bad, people perceive you as bad. Man, we're a mountain in here. Okay, so, like, real talk about Onigiri and shit. So, for those of you who do know or, like, do not know, yeah, Revert, you can come. We're on channel 3. For those of you who do or do not know, Leviathan mentions that she's in a weaker state. Like, Susanoo and Watatsumi defeated her, and she's in a weakened state. She had to reduce her power to escape a seal or something like that. and she's supposed to get stronger. So I thought, well, she's supposed to get an awakening or something. Well, recently, on JP, Leviathan has appeared as a boss, as she should be. She's gonna have weapons, and she's called like Leviathan Notched or Knight Leviathan or something like that. And I guess she's Holy Rain, so it's a Holy Rain weapon, like Reverence. And she's all white and beautiful, and she's got fucking long ass tentacles and shit, and she's amazing. And do you guys think we're going to get awakened mounts? Like, do you guys think we're gonna get awakened mounts? Like, Ifrit should be able to awaken into Eldritch Beast by now. Like, it should have been a thing. And Leviathan's gonna get notched, and Fujin and Raijin, they could probably evolve into like their human god forms or something. I don't know, but I think they could awaken. Yeah, because she's Holy Rain, so she's weak to Dark Lightning. Yeah. What's her name? Kurenai did a massive number on her with Inochiyo. What about the other ones? Well, Hound Dog wouldn't get an awakening unless they did a redo of Hound Dog, because he's not lore related. Like, he's just from a crossover event. Like, you'd never expect Ivus or Luna to get an awakening. It's just, they just exist as cross promotion. And then there's Oguchi, and to be honest, Oguchi should be able to awaken into Black Oguchi from eating Musashi's sword or whatever. Like, you should be able to turn into Dark Oguchi again. Like, that'd be wild. Like, that exists. We DC'd! I knew it. I knew the minute everyone started coming, we'd DC. But we did play for an hour. Exactly. Like, we already have Vanguard mount hybrids, so why not have the mounts like fill up a secondary bar and then Vanguard swap into them? Like, that'd be so. I think that's how it should be. Yeah, Brownie becomes God. Damn right. But we awaken Amaterasu's true form. She turns into Brownie. Like, finally, after all these years. But I think it should be like when you're in a mount is a secondary gauge that fills up from using your mount, like killing with the mount. And then you fill up their gauge, and then you hit like the Vanguard button while you're riding the mount, and you just like turn into like a Vanguard version of the mount for like X amount of time based on how many scrolls. Yeah, like it would be awesome. Yeah, Brownie is Amaterasu's true form. That's right. Okay, so this stream has to end, and we're going to come by, and we're going to do more runs, and we're going to finish our boost. So we'll be back to the stream in a few short moments.